At least 3 people died Monday when an Amtrak train carrying nearly 80 passengers derailed in Washington state. Train cars fell onto vehicles traveling on a highway below. John Blackstone has more details.
The accident scene is a jumble of derailed train cars, trucks, and automobiles.
When you see the pictures, it's pretty horrific.
People were screaming. It was crazy.
An Amtrak commuter train on a new, higher-speed line between Seattle and Portland derailed.
Amtrak 501. Emergency, we are on the ground.
This radio call captured the moment dispatchers first learned that cars had hurtled off a bridge directly onto Interstate 5.
Is everybody okay?
I'm still figuring that out. We got cars everywhere and down onto the highway.
One car flipped upside down onto the interstate, another dangling precariously off the overpass. Still others piled up, wreckage strewn over a wide area. Of the 14 cars, only one, the lead engine, remained on the tracks. No motorists were killed from the crash.
I was scared, I was really scared.
Adrian Thompson was en route to see his mother for the holidays.
I just grabbed onto the chair in front of me for dear life. My laptop went flying, my phone went flying.
Within minutes of the derailment, dozens of emergency crews rushed in, as did drivers who witnessed the crash, like Trevor Culvey, who helped pull survivors to safety.
I saw smoke. Next thing you know, myself and a few others are trying to get people medical care when we can.
This was the first trip for the new Seattle to Portland line, but some local officials had expressed concern these tracks weren't safe enough for a commuter train traveling 80 miles an hour. Those passengers who were able to walk away feel enormously fortunate.
I had to say a prayer multiple times after this. I feel blessed to be alive and okay right now.
Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board are now on the scene here looking for an answer to that all-important question. What caused this accident on a newly rebuilt set of tracks meant for a higher speed operation? Was it a problem with the tracks, the train, or perhaps operator error? It could take weeks to get an answer. Elaine?
John, thank you. Mark Rosenker is a CBS News transportation safety analyst and the former chairman of the National Transportation Safety Board, and he joins us now from Washington. So, Mark, what are investigators looking for now?
Everything is going to be on the table when they first get there. They're documenting the scene at this moment. A major GO team is actually underway from Washington. They'll be there much later this evening. And the first thing they're going to be looking for, of course, is the event recorder, the black box, if you will, coming from that locomotive. They're also going to be looking very curiously at what the video may show. There is video on the dashboard of these locomotives, and according to reports that, in fact, back 2 years ago when we had the Amtrak accident of 188, the president of Amtrak decided he was going to put cameras inside the locomotive facing the engineer. So we would be able to see if the engineer was distracted in any way, shape, or form, or perhaps even had a medical emergency.
Well, President Trump's first tweet after the derailment said that the crash proves that an upcoming infrastructure plan from his administration is necessary. But as we heard in John's piece, this took place on a new line. What do we know about this new route, and if there were any safety concerns upon opening?
Well, this is very early in the investigation. Everything, every element remains on the table. Accidents are never one thing. They're a chain of events that lead up to a catastrophic result. The investigators are going to be there. They're going to do a methodical, meticulous examination of every single possible outcome here, and they'll find out exactly what happened. It will take about a year before they're able to determine what happened, and then most importantly, Elaine, make recommendations to prevent it from happening again.
Well, given the early stage of the investigation, do we know, Mark, could positive train control have made a difference in this case?
We don't know, but we certainly know that positive train control is a very important safety element across the entire nation's railroads. 62,000 miles of railroad track, and unfortunately we don't have but less than 30% of it, if even that much, implementing positive train control.
Well, on another topic, Mark, Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport finally had power restored Monday after an 11-hour blackout. What can you tell us about the impact of the power failure on travelers, airlines, and the airport itself?
Well, that was a very tough day for Atlanta and anybody attempting to either get in, out, or through the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport. Power was disrupted around 1 o'clock in the afternoon and didn't get restored until around 11 o'clock. There were 1,000 aircraft that had been canceled. Even today, cancellations and delays, and then the attempt to actually get passengers booked on other aircraft to get to their destinations. This was a serious, chaotic situation in Atlanta, and they needed to understand exactly what happened, why it happened, and then fix things so it will never happen again.
And Mark, do we know why was the airport unable to access any backup power sources after the fire that caused the blackout?
Elaine, that's a very good question. There is a real issue of, do you put your backup systems, your redundancy systems, adjacent to the operating systems? If one of those goes down and you have a serious fire like we saw yesterday, that seems to be a very bad place to be putting your backup system. They'll be looking at it. Georgia Power will be looking at it very carefully. They'll make some decisions to probably separate it. Let us hope they do, so that in the event something like this happens, the backup systems will be safe and ready to operate.
So what can other airports do to prevent incidents like this from happening again?
Well, hopefully this was a learning moment for other airports around the United States, making sure that whatever systems they have, they need to be updated, making sure that they are safe, and then if they have redundant systems, which should be required, they're in a place where they're not near where your main systems are located.
All right, Mark Rosenker, thanks very much for your insight, Mark. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you.